So we're just catching up, and it's not really a formal interview or a very serious thing we're doing here. We're just catching up. And we thought it might be nice to share at some point your journey, Sabine, with people that are maybe seeking like we both were. Um, just to give them some insights or some encouragement or I remember seeking and thinking once I'd recognized the truth, I was like, oh, it was true what they were saying.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so what Moody said, what Eckhart said, well, it was true. So, so that was just an interesting thing. I guess there was maybe that thought that it wasn't possible for me.
And it doesn't stop. It's not
No.
like, okay, I've reached it, I'm there. No,
Yeah.
it just continues every day. And every day I'm like, oh, that's what she means. So it
Yeah.
just, it continues.
So I guess we could have a little bit of background on your journey. I know we met, I think, via just posts on YouTube, and then you did do
Yeah.
months mentoring with me, just sort of maybe once or twice a week we met.
Yeah, we did.
Just because there was an intense period I remember where it just you felt like you were close, but you were almost having more disruption as well at the same time. I remember there was this sort of felt like you were close, but then you tend to be there was that sort of suffering. So we did that to sort of clear up, to find some clarity, really.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
confusing place.
yeah, yes, it can be at times. It can be very confusing at
Yeah.
times. So that's sort of the reason to do videos like this is just if your story, somebody can follow the thread of see the similarities or something, or just know it's possible for them. I think that's quite good as well.
Yeah.
So a bit of background, when did you start seeking and when did
I
all
think my entire life.
Perfect.
I always had this urge to somehow find the truth. I felt God in at a very young age. I call it God. You can call it anything, but a light. And I was like, and so yeah, the search was on, and and it got really intense 5 years ago, all
Yeah.
consuming. So I really feel for people who are on this search because it's so hard when you're on it. It just it totally took everything over. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like for
very
me, it felt
tiring.
like a runaway horse.
Oh, totally.
I was just cantering in a direction. And I was like, what?
Yeah,
Sort of out of control, not crazy out of control, just that drive for truth just
yeah,
seemed to speed up. And I remember asking, what is this? Because I always had that connection of being able to just ask, not from the mental realm, just from being open to an answer. And I just got its divine will. It was just, now I can see what I didn't even know what that meant, but it sort of seemed to satisfy me. I was like, okay, something else is sort of doing it. Although, it was the sense that I really felt like I wanted to know the truth, very similar to you. Yeah. So
yeah.
I know that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't know really what it is. And that's a stupid thing because you're chasing something that you don't really know what it is. And so it sort of lands on you slowly. It gradually happened. So I didn't have like one big bang. It's still ongoing, like I said before. But yeah, it gets clearer and clearer somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
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 But it
Yeah.
felt like a total addiction at the time. It was an addiction
I
for
think it
me.
is. Yeah. And it can cause quite a lot of frustration. I think for me, it just had to exhaust itself because
Yeah.
it's so exhausting searching. It's almost like because and so what's coming in this moment is it's because we're grasping outside of ourselves. So we're
Yeah.
searching for the truth, and we are the truth. But
Yeah.
that's very hard to see when we're in subject object mode, when we project out to a world because we think we're a separate self, me, projecting out into the world. That's just how life constructs itself to experience itself.
Yeah.
It's only ever life experiencing itself. So that what's coming in this moment is that search is because until we just can't get anything, obviously we're getting tidbits, we're
Yeah.
getting pointers, but we're still sort of not trusting what the pointers are saying. You already are it. We
Yeah.
don't do this turn. And for me, I guess life decided to just flip, to just reveal it to itself. I didn't have the clarity of what that was, but I just knew that instead of looking for presence, I am the presence. Oh,
Yeah.
So it was just a felt sense of presence. Oh, but I hadn't got all the pieces to be able to say. You don't immediately have all the pieces, do you? You don't immediately.
No, not at all.
Oh,
No.
yeah, great. I've recognized my truth. Here I am. I'm all sorted. I can
No.
now be the wise oracle to anybody else who hasn't. No.
Nobody's waiting on that either. You're not you're not you. You're not who you think you are. Everybody's like, "Whoa, you're crazy."
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I really needed the mentoring. I mean, that was really nice talking to you. I remember
Oh.
just talking to you and feeling, okay, we're both women the same age. I think we were both doing the dishes or something like that. We're like,
Just
okay,
normal life.
it's normal every day, hanging up the laundry. We were talking about that, and I really like that. It's like, okay, it's not just for somebody who lives on a mountain somewhere in the Himalayas.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
but that's
for
an interesting thing you just said there because yes, it is very normal and it is just what's appearing. But you, in fact, did go to India. I know we've not done your entire story, but you did go to India recently and
Oh,
had
I
quite
did.
a shift.
I did. I went to Arunachala, the mountain, and to Ramana Ashram,
Yeah.
which was
This
which
is
was
Ramana Maharishi's
yeah,
ashram. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and I felt a huge recognition there because yeah, I live in a small town in Holland, so I'm pretty much on my own. So this journey has been quite lonely in some way because yeah,
Mm.
I don't have many people to talk to it about. And so I really felt a recognition from what I was seeking all my life is true. It was actually true, and it was such a relief to
So
feel
is
that.
that because you were around many others that had been seen?
No, no, no. I was with a friend who's not interested into this at all, so that was
Oh,
quite funny.
really? Really?
Yeah, she's like, "Okay, Bean, I'll go because you want to go." She came
Oh,
along.
she didn't wake up, no.
No,
Would have been funny. That would have been a good story.
that would have been a good story.
You did 20, well, 30, 40 years of seeking. She just went with you and woke up.
Yeah, it could have happened because she did actually
Oh,
really like the feeling there.
oh, did she? So she
Yeah, because
did
she's not into
feel
this
it.
at all. But I was like floating on my own little cloud in the ashram,
Yeah.
and it was just it was so nice to know that this is true what we're talking about. It actually exists, and
Mm,
it's
mm.
not it's for everybody really, and
Yeah, because it's what we are.
yeah, that's what we are,
Yeah.
and that's what I feel like. I really wish that everybody could feel this.
Yeah, I have a sense that you would be very good at sharing this because
Ah,
when you've been on some of my little mini groups that I do, you're always such a good reflection of it.
thank
So
you.
yes, I thought that's why I thought it might be nice to speak anyway, because I do feel like, I mean, you do yoga, don't you? So
Yes.
were you always sort of out of the way when you were doing yoga? You know, the identity was out of the way when you were teaching yoga, do you think?
Yeah.
Or is it
Yeah.
more now?
It's more now. I
Yeah.
sometimes sit there and like, uh-oh, what's gonna happen? What am I gonna say? And it just comes out.
Yeah.
And yeah, people like it. It's I don't have a set up plan beforehand. It comes out. I look at the people and say, okay, this is what we're gonna do today, and it just happens really.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's really, really nice.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. And then before it you would probably recognize that you were out of the way, but
Yeah.
not as much.
Yeah, and it's nice. That's what I still like about it, what we did with the mentoring, sort of, seeing this. Okay, this is what's happening. So sort of seeing the framework in which
Yeah.
this is all happening.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So then there is some sort of knowledge, some sort of, oh, that's what it is. So
yeah,
again, it's sort of life recognizing itself. It's not an individual uh, gaining knowledge because the individual drops. That's the whole thing. Who we think we
yeah,
are, this identity drops. You still can have an individual experience, can't you? But you know that what's experiencing it is this formless awareness.
yeah.
Yeah. We didn't touch on what actually happened in India because there was a little, we keep circling back to India.
Yeah, but we always tend to go all over the place.
We do. It's just random life just
It's
expressing
just like,
itself.
yeah, it's just excitement.
Yeah.
Okay, so I came back and I had this feeling of a pearl inside my heart.
So was that pearl, did that happen while you were there? Did it start to
No,
grow or no? You
it
just, when
just
you arrived
grew.
back, you felt,
Yeah. I went back and I was just so satisfied of having been there and just so
oh,
happy of, it's like, okay, if this is it, I'm fine. I know this is true. And like, I know I'm not crazy. I mean, I was just so happy knowing that this was alive, that this
yeah.
is alive.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
I like that.
And so that was it for me. That was enough. And
Yeah.
then 2 weeks later, I woke up and it sort of exploded, and it's exploded all through my veins. It was just like everywhere. I'm like, oh, this love, this immense love I was feeling for everybody. Just
Yeah.
wanting to hug everybody. Like, oh, this is so nice. Just wanted to share and come out, and which is really, really nice. And
And it
well,
does that level of unconditional love, does that seem to, the fragrance of it is the best way I can describe it. Does it seem to sort of do this? It's
yeah.
always there, but it can really grow, and then it's just quiet.
Yeah,
Is that
but I
under?
think that's handy when it
Yes.
goes quiet. Because be in the supermarket and I'd see somebody, I'm like, oh, that person is so gorgeous. I just want to hug this person. Like, no, settle down.
I'm like Baron Katie. I don't know if you ever heard her story, but she just hugs everybody.
So it's handy, you have to sort of still
Yeah.
move into the world.
Yeah, still experience life as a human being in a world of duality, but you can see that everybody is this one thing
Yeah.
appearing
And
out
also
of others.
objects. I love objects as well. I can totally marvel over objects.
Oh, what, just like really mundane ones
Yeah,
as
just
well.
really mundane. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
oh wow. And the intelligence that comes out of everything. I love it.
Oh, that's interesting. The intelligence that comes out of everything.
Yeah.
As if
Yeah.
it's speaking to you, or as if, so
Yeah,
can
it's
you
all
describe
alive.
that?
Yeah, I find it all alive.
Wow.
It's all essence.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
speaking to you. It's
Yeah.
intelligent. So you're recognizing that intelligence
Yeah.
is you, but appearing
Yeah. Yeah.
as another. It just becomes like a marvel. But then I want to be very make an important point here. It's also very normal
It is.
because so what happens is I think if we talk about how wonderful it is, people then have this idea that it's got to be wonderful, it's got to be
True.
shining lights, it's got to be, so this isn't it. But actually,
True.
however this is shaping it is it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. That's a
Not
good
it.
point.
Yeah.
Because I was lost in that too. Because
Yeah.
when everybody, saying, "Oh, you have to feel you're in bliss and excited and all this stuff," I'm like, "Well, I'm not
Yeah.
really feeling it."
Yeah. So you think you're not there yet because
Yeah,
you're
you
not
think you're not
experiencing
there
this.
yet,
Yeah.
but this is
Yeah.
something else. I mean, this doesn't come from a thought or a belief, a concept. It flows differently.
It's uncaused.
Yeah, I'm not doing it, and
Yeah,
that's the
uncaused
difference.
happiness,
Yeah,
uncaused joy,
yeah,
uncaused, unconditional. So no matter what the condition is. So it's not because life is beautiful, appearing like all your ducks are in a row. So now you feel wonderful, get your life organized and then you'll feel great. That tends to be how we look outside of
yeah.
ourselves and think we've got to rearrange the furniture and then
Mm,
our life, then we're going to feel great. But it's the opposite way around.
it
Doesn't matter
is
what's happening in your life, it's unconditional or uncaused happiness, so it's
true.
unconditional no matter what's happening.
Yeah.
you know you can see the magic in the mundane, but it's not to say if somebody isn't saying that they're not there. It's just moments of, quite often, quite, they can be peak
Yeah.
moments, so like your heart opening, and that's what I'm calling it, but
Yeah.
like that bursting, it's a peak moment, but it's not like you're not chasing that all the time anymore because
No.
you already feel whole and complete. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what happened. Like before all of this, it would
Yes.
open, it would close, it would open, it would close. And in the
Yeah.
beginning, I was like, "Oh, it's open, yay!" And then it closed. And then I sort of got learned to deal with that. Like, okay, just let it happen when it opens. Let it just okay, then it
Okay.
closes. But
Yeah.
now it's staying more open, and that's
And
the
you're
difference.
already full.
Yeah,
You're already, I think that's the difference for me. You're already whole and complete. So it's like the icing on the cake.
yeah.
Then something blossoms up, but it can also be overwhelming.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I had
yeah, yeah,
gratitude the other day for the small group I did. I just woke up the next day and I was so grateful, but it it just kept building, the gratitude, and so I had to share it. I just had to pour it out in how I felt, and they
Oh,
really responded really
nice.
well, and I instantly felt relieved that I'd shared the gratitude.
Oh, nice.
Oh, because it was like it was overwhelming, and I thought I can't
Yeah.
actually get on with my day because it's as if it was saying you have to share this.
Oh, wow.
You have to tell them how grateful, not in a you have to tell, just
No, no,
who
no.
wants to share the gratitude. It's
Yeah, but it's so
just,
nice when you share it. It's so
yeah,
nice for other people
it's a
also.
relief to be honest.
Yeah.
So it wasn't done in, I'm going to share it with them and make them feel good too. It was just like, I'm going to hand this over. I've got to share it
Well, yeah.
to feel not so overwhelmed, not like I don't get how that, it's hard to explain. It's not for something. It's not to gain anything. It's not to make them feel better. It's not,
Yeah,
it's just life just wants to share it
that
with
is so
itself.
nice. Yeah, but it's
Not-
beautiful to share it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was.
I like
It
that.
was, yeah. So we've gone all over the place with that.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Because I mean, I do think people need to hear it, to feel safe, to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And hearing that, it just makes them feel better, which sort of relaxes them into being able to be open for other things to happen.
Yeah.
So it's also a blessing to receive your gratitude because it makes you feel seen and comforted and relaxed enough to open up really.
Mm.
So
Lovely. That's how you're saying it.
yeah,
Because I'm just feeling into that now.
yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So it's like it opens everybody up.
It does. Because pure gratitude, I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah. I have
Sometimes when you're really closed down as a person because of various things happening, various thoughts, belief, it's nice to hear these positive words to have the recognition, the transmission that you're sharing
Mm,
with them
mm,
to feel okay enough to relax, to open up the system
mm.
for their unfolding and
Did you
sharings.
think that was important for you?
Yeah.
It's that's how it wants to experience itself. That's how it wants to learn. That's sort of what's been seen here. When we're resisting something,
Hmm.
you see that there's still something maybe in our memory of a separate self that's still kicking around, still has the chance to dance. Because of course, all of that conditioning can dance, you know,
Yeah.
after self-realization. It's not that it all drops away,
Oh, no, not
but
at
it does
all.
lessen the more we don't pick up the patterns.
Hmm.
But I seem to have seen that these patterns have the chance to play out, especially the ones that are deeply grooved that we've experienced over and over again. They tend to show up for us to be seen because we can still resonate in those folds, in those patterns
Definitely.
until we've seen what, so if we're seeing jealousy, or if we're seeing that people still don't like me, if that was your thing, that was my thing, people don't like me. If you're seeing that coming up, what's the chance that people do like you? It's like, oh, well, of course they're life, of course they like you, they're life's in love with itself, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I've come to find, I mean, I know you've had that heart awakening, which is what I'm calling it, but I would think you've recognized that life is just in love with itself.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. 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 You can feel it shining through everything else. It's sort of
Wow.
like it really comes from the inside through everything. So even through anger, I mean, through everything, really.
Wow.
That's how I feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the underlying current.
Yeah.
That's what we fundamentally are, is love.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So although it gets filtered, still what's behind the whole somebody's, if you feel like somebody's behaving in a way that you don't like, it's like, okay, what do I not like about that? So you turn it towards yourself, not condoning people's behavior at all,
Hmm.
if they're behaving badly, because I feel like if we don't react, if we're able to respond from wisdom, which is this sort of neutrality with this open space of just being, rather than the separate self-attack, they're
Yeah.
attacking me, from this open space we can just respond. So there's sort of lots of things that get revealed to you along the way, and there is a more
True.
peeling away, but it's only ever we already fully are. That's what I like to get across, what we're
Yeah.
looking for. It's
And
almost like peeling away the layers of what we're not to reveal what we are.
loving your humanness at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's human to not feel good when somebody says something ugly or negative to you. I mean, you feel
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because life is here to learn that as well, to
Yeah,
experience everything. It isn't just here
yeah,
to experience the really nice stuff. It's here
No.
to, somebody else comes to you and says that they're really hurt by what somebody's saying. You don't just dismiss it because you
Yeah.
have experienced that. Life
Yeah.
experienced that. So you have that compassion for somebody. So you know exactly how you feel. It's like
Yeah.
you said you were desperately searching and you didn't know what you were doing. And it was just, I remember that
Yeah.
exhaustion
Oh,
of
true.
searching
Yeah.
outside of myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think that
yes, you're
recognition
right. That's an
is
important point to be okay with even the humanness, the grief, the anxiety, all of it
because
is
it's there. It's
yeah,
there. It's expressed. So it's already there. And to be able to hold that, that's what I like now, is that I have space to hold these emotions.
hmm
Before I was fighting them and resisting them. And
yeah.
so now, not always, of course, sometimes I still get carried away, but just to hold them. Okay, I feel a headache, or I feel a pressure, or I feel whatever I feel, just to sit there and just allowing it. And it's so sweet to allow it.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
just
because you're not
allowing the
resisting it.
headache, allowing the tiredness or whatever arises. It's such a difference from pushing it away, not accepting life, or accepting life, just being human, feeling human
Yeah,
emotions.
lovely. That's really mature seeing, because a lot of people come round to that after a while of recognition. But I think, like you said, yours has been sort of quite a slow burn along
Yeah.
the way. And a lot of people have that and they feel like they're not really there because they've had this slow burn and not had a big recognition. So again, I think that's important to point out. I think that's why you've got that level of maturity that you're embracing everything now.
Yeah.
Whereas that a lot of people, if they have a shift and they wake up to feel like they're the awareness of everything and they can separate all the craziness and then they
Mm.
can hang out here and have some relief. But if
Yeah.
there's come a point where you have to dive back in, it's as if
Yeah.
you're already there. You're
Yeah.
already including everything.
It's
Yeah.
still hard. I mean, it's still hard work. It's more effortless, but it's still work. You still have to. Well, I
It
still
can feel
watch.
like that for the
Yeah,
human. Yeah, for the
yeah,
human experience, it can
for the
feel like,
human
okay, I've got this
experience.
work to do. Um, do you feel like you've still got stepping stones that you use? Um,
Like, what do you mean?
so like stepping stones, like tools that you use to be able to see, quite often I point people to open their focus and rest back.
Yeah.
So we're not grasping, we're just, it's that movement that I had, this life returning to itself. So we're out there seeking, trying to get something. And for me, it was a return to what I was already was. So do you feel like there's that happening still? Or do you feel like it's just that you don't need any tools to get back to what you are? It's fully embodied what you are. And then just these things are appearing in the space that you are now, not the separate self that you are.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I like writing a lot, so I spend a lot of time writing. It sort of clears my view.
hmm
It's so I can sort of have the person write, and at the same time a bigger part of me writing, and so it sort
Oh,
of writes to each other.
yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And from that, a lot of clarity
You can get a
arises.
question and then
Yeah,
you get the answer almost.
yeah,
Yeah. So I used to get that. I think, oh, if I met somebody like Moody or Eckhart, what would I ask them? I get all excited about what really good question I could ask them. And then I get the answer straight away. And I'd be like, oh,
exactly.
to think of something else. So I was getting all of that before self-realization,
Oh,
which was quite
same.
handy.
Yeah.
But again, I suppose I'm just recognizing that it was in the same way as you. We are all gaining maturity as we go. Life's learning about itself. So although I was accessing that wisdom at that time, it just shows you don't need the big shift. I had something you could say was a energetic shift, but you don't need that. If people haven't had any a shift, there still is the wisdom being accessed.
Hmm.
We still are maturing even without that. You don't need that.
Yeah. But
I was
every
sort of
yeah.
denying, I was thinking, oh, isn't that strange? I'd had it before my shift. But of course, in looking at what you'd said, we're all just, all just journeying differently. It's the same
That's
ones we're
it.
journeying
That's it.
differently.
Exactly. That's it. But everybody has this inner wisdom.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you
Nobody's
take
not had
time,
it. Yeah,
and for me it's writing, for somebody else it could be walking or painting or whatever, for this inner wisdom, everybody has their own.
yeah.
And just to
Where they
find
sort of feel
that.
like they can put the little me aside a little bit. Maybe when when you were teaching yoga.
Mm-hmm.
When I modeled, it was all automatic. From the
Yeah.
very first day I modeled, I just knew what to do. And I would almost switch on and off, and people would recognize it like, oh my goodness, you're a completely different person when you model.
Yeah.
Whereas, I would just, it was like a switch for me would flip. But I think, yes, in talking about that, people might recognize it in themselves. There are moments, whether they're
Oh yeah.
dancing in a yoga
I hope
class,
so.
where they're recognizing that unbound, unfiltered, unconditioned self is
Yeah.
always there. It's just these layers because they pop up with a belief, I'm not there yet. And
Yeah.
the attention goes towards it and it's bringing that attention home.
Yeah.
Attention is such a key
And I
thing.
wish that for everybody, so that they find their own spark.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really
I mean,
wish
it's
that
already
for
there.
everybody.
It's
It
there,
is.
isn't it?
It's
Because they
it is,
are
but
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
but to discover it for themselves. And
yeah.
I did a lot of self-inquiry, so that's what a lot in my writing is about self-inquiry, which
Hmm.
helped me. But
Brilliant.
yeah, and
And was that a particular method? It might help
I just
other
no, I
people
just didn't think.
just for the writing. You
I was
just
just
didn't think.
writing. I was
Perfect.
just writing, and then another part answered back, and then I was writing, and it was sort of all dialogues.
But have you got any sense of how you were energetically while you were doing that? Did you feel like you were just open when you were writing? Did you
Well,
feel like a separate self me, or did you feel expanded, or was there any, did you listen to music? Was there anything else that you could point to people?
um, no, it's just like when I was young, I did have before I went to sleep. You sort of come into like a little zone,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
then I
Well,
could,
the separate self's dying down there, isn't it? As you,
yeah, and then sort of like I could hear. It's a different frequency. I could just sort of like hear more wisdom or
oh,
wisdom,
yeah.
or how you would say that. And
Yeah.
I would ask questions, I would get answers, and it
Oh,
just that went on for a long, long time.
gosh,
And
that's
that's the
great.
same as how I write. So I sort of get
Brilliant.
into a different frequency, and that's
Yeah.
it talks to me.
Resonant.
Yeah. And yeah,
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, you're accessing the field of being and knowing. Yeah, wisdom.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's sort
There's
of
this
you can
feeling.
sort of distinguish between when the ego talks and wants something, and this higher wisdom says something. You
Yeah.
can feel it.
Yeah. So I would describe it as the separate self is like this. It's very choppy, linear. Want, need, got to get. What's this? I need this. It's very sort of choppy. And
Yeah,
then for me, wisdom is this sort of it's just there isn't, I want to point out there is nothing special. We're not special accessing this. This is available to everybody.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
just it's so people are already having these wise thoughts. They're just not recognizing them because they come very similar because it sounds like a voice in your head. But it for me, it has this, all I can do is shapes. It comes like this. It comes in
yeah,
a very it's offered up as a sort
yeah,
of, how about this? What about that?
yeah.
Perhaps this, in a very gentle way. Whereas the mind is like, no, it should be this way. It's got to be this way. I don't understand. I'm not getting it. It's a very choppy way.
Yeah, it
That's
has a different quality to it.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a you could say a universal voice. It's for
Mm.
everybody. It's not mine. It's universal
Mm.
for people who might tune into this for themselves.
Yes, it doesn't have that conditioning. So that's
Yeah,
why it feels universal because it
yeah,
doesn't have the separate self, me conditions, thoughts, ideas of how something should be.
yeah,
It's just a suggestion coming from this endless pure potential.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just
And
feeding into that. That's why I've gone really slow. Because I didn't get it when you first said it. I was like, I'm not sure about that. I need to feel that. And then when I felt it, it was like, oh yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
I can feel it now between us.
yeah.
Yeah,
Knowing.
it's a different knowing. Yeah, and I think people who see this could also feel into this with us
Mm.
for themselves.
That we've sort of taken on a different resonance now.
Yeah,
Feels like we've just dropped into that field of knowing and being. So we
yeah,
were quite personality, which is lovely. Like you say, embrace all of it. We were
yeah,
quite sort of dancing. in excitement and sharing and and now we're sort of dropped into this just world of being and knowing,
True.
which is still pure potential, but it just has a different resonance, doesn't it? It has a
It
different,
does.
it's
It
very
comes out like
settled.
this.
It's
Yeah.
very grounded and open and doesn't necessarily have an agenda as much as a separate me that wants to share. And there's something beautiful in the agenda, the excitement of wanting to share. But there's this, like you say, this resonance that everybody is this. It's just where we're like tuning forks, I see, where we're tuning in that moment. We can all
Yeah.
tune in separation and fear or we can tune into just this.
Yeah.
So in this, there's that space to see what was the best thing that needs to be shared in this moment, rather than there's some little agenda of what could be shared. It's just this field of knowing, really.
True, but it's also really sweet. Our sharing is also before it's also really sweet because we have
Oh
this
yeah,
love and we're
yeah,
like, oh please, you just want
yeah.
to share it. There's just so much excitement coming out. Like, oh,
Mm.
just
I think
you
we were
know,
showing the ocean and the waves here, aren't
yeah,
we?
just like you would just want everybody to feel
Yeah, it's
this.
like,
And so
oh,
it's
look, you can be a wave. It's
I
free. Yeah. It's almost I think what I feel like we're pointing to is there's this ocean of being, and then we can appear as a wave. But after self-realization, what happens is this wave knows it's the ocean. Whereas when we haven't quite recognized the truth of our being, the ocean, we're still identifying as a wave, saying, where's the ocean? Where's the ocean? I'm a little wave all on my own type of thing. And I
Yeah.
need to find my ocean, my truth, my origin, the source
Mhm.
of my being. Where is it? Where is it?
Yeah.
But in that dying of identity of just being the wave, you recognize the ground of your being is the source of the wave.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah.
So we can dance as the waves
Yeah. Yeah,
and we
we
can
we can.
dance in separation, dance in
Yeah.
unity, dance in separation, or we just remain as the stillness. We drop down to the
Yeah.
ground of being. So I
And
think,
that's a different feeling.
yeah,
It's a different resonance.
yeah, that we're already home.
Yeah.
We're home. It's home, isn't it? That's what it is. It's we're home. And we
Oh,
wish
yeah.
that for everybody. We wish
Yeah.
that for everybody.
I
They
wish
already are
that
home,
for
but we
everybody.
wish them to
Oh my
see it.
goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. There isn't anybody you wouldn't want, because somebody in deep separation who's attacking others and appearing sort of, what we could easily judge as evil or awful or whatever, you wish them home,
Oh,
recognize their
totally.
truth. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It can be, it was always a bit funny of like, why am I doing this on YouTube if everybody's already home anyway?
Mm.
But it's just life is journeying. And it wants to look after itself. As I asked, why am I doing this? Because
Hmm.
everybody's already home, so it seems silly that I'm pointing everybody home. They're already home.
Yeah.
But
But
I
it's
just
it's
got life
good.
looks after itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
it's
it
good
was
to share.
yeah.
It's
Well,
like the
we know what it
gratitude.
was like to suffer.
Yeah.
We know what it was like to feel very
I
contracted and bound and lost.
yeah.
But let's just try and point out that all of that is this,
Yeah.
is home. Home
Mm.
just rises up as a wave and appears lost. And I have a few people who, are just feel like they've got to improve the wave to get home.
Mm.
I understand that, but there is also that direct path that you're already home.
Yeah.
There's always the chance to see that, because that's going to be the recognition anyway, ultimately. Even
Yeah.
if you raise the vibration of this, you do lots of things, and we all did that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's to see you're already home. That
Yeah.
what's improving itself is already fully complete and whole.
Yeah. But it's so easy to get lost.
That's
Also,
that's you're right. I don't want people to be lost. I don't mind them journey. I just don't want them to be lost forever. Journey,
yeah. Yeah.
improving.
Yeah.
Sorry, you go on because I cut you off, but you just hit the nail on the head. That's exactly why I was expressing that.
But for also to because when you talk, when I watch your YouTube videos, I don't listen to you. I just
That's okay. I don't either.
it's just I just
It's the
it
resonance.
I listen I allow the resonance to come in.
Mm,
I
yeah.
find my own wisdom, or I let my own wisdom
Yes.
open flower when I listen to you, which I don't really listen to, but you like hold the space, you give space for me to explore what's going on over here.
Lovely.
And where I
Mm,
find my own, yeah, my own wisdom, or how you would say
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
Pointing. It's just in resonating at the clearest
yeah,
resonance.
it's resonating because if I actually listen to you with my ears and my
Yeah.
personality, okay, she
Then
says
there's something
this,
to
I have
get.
to do that. And I
Yeah.
put it in a box, and
Yeah.
then I sort of really rigidly hold on to the box. Oh, I have to do this.
Now you got to work something out. It's because
Yeah,
we go to the mental realm. So
yeah,
there's something said, well, where is this I? That I feel trapped. I feel, this, whatever somebody's coming with, and well, where is this I? If we look, and so immediately we go to a concept. Well, it's here. I can't. It's driving me mad. It's always here. What do you mean? Where is this I?
yeah,
But it's to go to that felt sense where actually is the I.
exactly. Listen from the heart, maybe
Yeah.
you
What
could
is
say.
this? Yeah.
Yeah.
What is this
And
I?
trust yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
trust yourself, trust
It's
your
trying to empower
process.
people, I think. Well, not trying, but that's, I'd never want people to feel like they need me. Um, they need to do endless courses and endless things because they already are it. So it's how best to show them that they don't need me. They already are me
Yeah,
in a way. The same source, the same essence.
yeah.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? I mean, you
It's
can
very
only
tricky.
just be as clear as you can, and if it helps somebody, great,
Yeah,
And it
just you
triggers a
feel
lot of
spark.
people. I think the more you shine, the more you trigger people too. That's what this seems to be what's happening for me now. I'm really triggering people because, you know, I guess it does because it looks like, oh, well, it's okay for you type of thing,
Hmm.
you know.
You hope this
Maybe
that
that cracks them as too. I don't know.
yeah.
I can only be the truth. I can't. I used to dim what I was to make people feel comfortable, just in
Hmm.
normal everyday life. Not that I was anything great, but you know how I would always sort of try and make somebody feel good by sort of trying to,
Oh yeah.
you sort of try and shape yourself into some,
Yeah.
harmony with them.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't think we're doing any justice now. If you're speaking about this, I think you have to just be what you are. You can't be anything else. You've just got to shine
Yeah.
and
And
hope
then you
that
hope
they
it
see that
sparks.
light. Yeah.
Your light sparks their light.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then it
Well,
grows
that's what
from
happened for
there.
me. I mean, I
Yeah.
saw pictures of Ramana Maharishi and I was like, what's that in his eyes? His
Yeah.
eyes were, so, you could see the light in his, well, I could see the light in his eye.
Same. Yeah.
And then I saw Muji live a couple of times and I was like, I want that in his eyes. I want that. And then
Yeah.
throughout the course of the 3 days, I've told this story a few times, but by the course of the 3 days, I met the light in the room and realized, oh, we met in the room. And then the third day, I realized I don't need to see him. He's
Yeah.
everywhere. I was still projecting it
Mhm.
as it was him that was this light, not realizing that I was the light too. And funny you said about when you go to sleep, because when I used to get, for years, I've gone to sleep and there was this repeating thing, you're the love and light of the universe, used to be repeated to me over and over again. And I would just judge it as an ego. I'd be like, that's all. I can't just walk around thinking I'm the love and light of the universe. How egoic. And so my conditioning would push that away.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Other people may have heard things as they go to sleep because
Yeah.
thing I'd not shared with anybody before because I was slightly embarrassed that I was getting this "you're the love and light of the universe"
Mhm.
over and over again. I was like, really? I'm not sure about that. And every night it would I was just send me to sleep just saying that. It was life just talking to itself, waking itself up, showing
Interesting,
its
isn't it?
truth. But the
Yeah.
ego dismissed it because it to the ego that's egoic.
Yeah, but isn't that a
Yeah.
maturity that you go through then? It's sort of it's a whole maturity because now you realize you are.
Yes, but yeah, I had to drop the ego to recognize that I actually am that.
Yeah.
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 And that we all are that.
Yeah.
There's
But
nothing
it's such a
special.
difference. It also has a different quality, you know, because I love myself from a, not from the ego point of view, but this love is,
Oh,
and it's not personal at all.
yeah,
And
it's so
that's,
funny, isn't it?
yeah, it's such a different love and a different acceptance. It's not an
It's
acceptance of
you know what it
doing
is?
good.
You are love.
Yeah, you
That's
are.
you are it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
apart from you.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
is what you are.
Yeah. And it
And
just,
it's a
yeah.
different way of experiencing love because we've
Yeah.
experienced love as a conditional transactional thing. You know,
Mm.
it tends to be in relationships that if you do this, I'll love you, and if you don't,
Yeah.
I'm not so keen. Or I'll just withhold love. It's not that they don't love you, they're just going to withhold it. That's what I was taught to, as a child. If you
Yeah.
believe you're loved, if you're not,
Yeah.
you might have to just wait for a bit of love then. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we then get trained to perform for others, to
True.
bend how we
Yeah.
are to
Yeah.
please
And
others.
yeah. And you start living these beliefs.
Yeah, that's where the
Yeah.
conditioning is. So
Yeah.
and then we believe that's who we are. And
Yeah.
that's how, because it is a mistaken identity, it's always worth pointing out that what
Mm.
we are. It's not like you don't lose what you are. You don't lose anything when you recognize the truth of your being. You don't because obviously there's going to be thoughts of, well, if I'm going to lose what I am, because if you believe yourself to be the ego, which is a mind-made identity, so it's the thoughts in your head are talking to you saying that are based in a separate self me, saying, well, if this is who I am, if I lose this, it's going to be awful because I'm going to die. Well,
Yeah.
that's true. They're just thoughts in your head, or they're just thoughts that, they're thoughts around the idea of a me. They're thoughts, basically.
Mm.
What you are is not a thought.
Yeah.
So you don't lose anything. You just lose the thoughts that are based in a separate self me, which
Yeah.
reveals the wisdom, which is based in a unified me.
Mm. Yeah, I did a lot of self-inquiry on that, you know, like what are thoughts? You know, what is this? What's going on?
Oh, it's a tricky one. What are thoughts, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
whenever I messed with what are thoughts, I got myself really tangled up.
Yeah,
Because you
it's a
use
tricky one.
thought, because
Yeah.
you narrow down into thought to work out what thoughts are, and you're in a thought loop.
It's true. It is tricky, but it's all very tricky because here you are writing, you know, but in the end, it's all, you know, so it's all happening anyway. If you write
Yeah.
or if you don't, it doesn't matter.
Yes, you already are it.
You already are it. So you can just be really cute and
Just
write about
looking in the
it.
wrong direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it worked for me. So just do what works
Yes.
for you.
Exactly. You're right. Whatever anybody says, it's your journey, and it's what you resonate with. So what videos I always used, I was like again a tuning fork. I would just go towards what I resonated with, and
Yeah.
then it would just end. I would just stop listening to that person because there was nothing left there, and I'd
Yeah.
go somewhere else and resonate somewhere else, and then so a bit like a guiding light or a tuning fork, what you resonate with, and then what works for you, what are you finding helpful. And that's why I was talking about tools and stepping stones. We have all of those tools. Somebody may meditate, somebody may do self-inquiry. I use Byron Katie, looking at my beliefs. I think they're all valid to a certain point
They are.
until because they're thinning out the ego, until
Yeah.
the until or you're accessing wisdom rather than mental activity. So again, it's just a different way of saying you're thinning out the ego.
Yeah.
Because
But
if we
isn't that the same? You said like you use a tuning fork to sort of scan and feel what resonated with you, but in the end, once you've done all of that, you know, and that's the whole seeking process, the tuning fork sort of points to you. And then you're like,
you are the tuning fork.
you're like,
Well,
you see it, and then okay, wait a minute. I've been listening to all these people, reading all these books, isn't it? You know, and it sort of all points
yeah,
back to
you're
you.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
wait a minute, aha, you know, I'm it already.
So
Everything that
to empower
appears
people
is
to
me.
know that they are it, and to
Yeah,
is the most valid thing you can do is turn towards what you are,
yeah,
because the wisdom, your ultimate truth is within you.
yeah. And that's
And
for
that's where you're going to
everybody.
find the answers. But what we're trying to do is seek outside.
Yeah,
Even after self-realization, you're still thinking, well, maybe another video, maybe another video. And every
yeah,
time I've turned towards what I am, that's
yeah,
when the crown jewels is revealed. It's
True.
already here, and it's because it's not stored answers. It's just the right thing at the right time is revealed when
Yeah.
we turn towards what we are. Whereas we feel like we want to get all the answers and store them as a separate self. Now we've got the journey, we know that we've got it all sorted out, we've got all the pieces of the jigsaw. Whereas wisdom is just pure potential in the moment. So it's just revealed whatever you need. It's not going to give you your entire path all sorted out.
No.
It doesn't need
No.
it. It's already
No.
holding complete. It's just experiencing itself.
No. Yeah,
So
and there's nothing to know. I mean, we've heard this so many times, but there is nothing to know because it already is.
so you're living both things because you're living as a set, you're having a human experience, but what's having that is completely whole and complete and is actually the space in which that human experience is being experienced.
Hmm.
You're the space in which it. So like in yoga yesterday, I was doing something. I love to just be the field. And yeah, so I love to look at my truth when I'm in yoga. So I'm not a separate self doing yoga. I'm just the field moving. So I feel into that and I just love it. And then I just see all the other appearances of the field moving and I am that, so it's just this, so you can have a really unified experience because obviously when we're in our everyday, there is going to be that level of duality playing out because that's just how we
Yeah.
function as the
Yeah.
human experience. But what I noticed was, so I had this sort of mini recognition, which you'll probably keep having as you go along, this life waking up to itself over and over again over little things. And I just got the words, you are the moment. And I was like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I am the moment. It's as if it was just a clearer seeing that I am the moment. Just there's nowhere to go with that
Yeah.
because you're the moment. There's no division. You are the moment.
True.
There's nothing, you can't carve that up. There's nothing the mind can do with you at the moment. It's like hook, line, and sinker. I was cooked. It's like you are the moment. And all that, I could see all that. Okay, so we've got to surrender to the moment. We've got to be okay with however the moment's unfolding. And I was like,
That's
oh my God,
different.
I am the moment.
Yeah.
Oh my,
Oh, that's a huge difference, isn't it?
it
It's
is, isn't it?
so different when you're like,
Oh, because there's
aha.
all that slight negotiating. Oh, I've got
Yeah.
to, so I'm going to surrender to the moment.
Oh,
And
it's so
I
different.
don't need to manage the moment. I am the moment.
Yeah.
Things like that happen where you just the clarity is just bang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything
And
falls.
it's effortless, right? That's a different quality
Oh
again.
yeah,
It's an
there's
effortless
nobody
quality.
there's nobody clever working that out. It's just revealed. It's
Yeah.
reveals it to itself.
Yeah.
You're like, ah,
Yeah. It's
goodness.
sweet. It's such
Oh my
so sweet, isn't it?
yeah. It's delicious. You're just like,
Yeah.
oh. And I just spent the whole day just I am the moment. So whatever is appearing. It was actually my birthday yesterday. So we went out for a family lunch. It, I come home ready. I didn't have breakfast. It was over lunchtime. It's like 3 o'clock. I told them I'm coming. So I wanted them all to be ready. Nobody was ready. So I'm like, I am the moment because they're not ready. One's lying in bed. One's like, oh, I'm going to go in the shower. But I'm starving because it's three o'clock. I've not eaten all day. So they were just chilling out. And I was just like, there's no resistance because I am them. I am the moment. Whatever's appearing, I am
Yeah.
it. So, but that doesn't mean, I think I just said at one point, I was like, guys, I am starving. I'm not eaten yet because I left early. And they were like, oh my goodness. And then they just
Oh,
speeded
yeah.
up and got ready quickly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I can see how it would have played out before. I would have gone, you guys not ready. I called you so that you
Oh,
should
totally.
all that bang, bang, bang. I need it to be this way. And they're not behaving how I want them to behave. It's my birthday.
Yeah.
They should be doing it how I want, all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so funny. And so all day I was just reveling in the moment,
Oh,
however it was appearing.
delicious.
Yeah. I called my mum. She was on the bus. She said, oh, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. I'll call you when I get home. It's a disaster. And my dad's in hospital with a fractured hip. So I didn't know whether she meant it was him
Oh,
or
yeah.
the bus journey was a disaster. I didn't know what it meant, but I was like, it's just the moment.
Yeah,
I am this moment, whatever it is. So I didn't, your mind doesn't run with what she means. You don't
true.
go into all the scenarios of what could that be? Was my dad in
Yeah,
pain? He has dementia as well. So was he crying out? Does he not understand? I didn't do any of that. I just
yeah.
waited till she
It's
called me
yeah,
back. And it was the bus journey was a disaster.
but it's a total different flow, isn't it?
Yeah,
You could be working at trying to get in presents the rest of your life,
I
and
did
then
do that for a long
it,
time. Yeah.
yeah, and then it happens, and you're like, huh?
Oh, I am
Oh,
it.
yeah,
Oh, it is.
yeah,
There is only this. There is
yeah.
only the presence.
Yeah. Same with
Oh,
affirmations about I love myself. I accept myself.
yeah.
You could say that and but some things like I'm not feeling
Oh,
it.
it's the limited self, isn't
It's
it?
so
Yeah,
limited.
yeah, yeah.
And then you sort of get out of like you are acceptance. All of it is accepted. Even the not acceptance is acceptance. And
Oh,
it just
beautiful.
flows. And
Yeah.
it's a different flow. It's I totally get what you mean.
There is just not that linear way of
Oh, just
thinking the suffering because it is the thoughts about the situation, not the situation. If somebody's behaving badly, we then suffer that bad behavior because they're doing it to us. They shouldn't be doing it. I don't like it.
yeah.
Yes, we could say yes to all of that. Yes, they shouldn't be behaving badly, da, da, da. But it's the only reason we're suffering is because of the linear thoughts about they're doing it to me.
Yeah.
They need to be different. How can
Yeah.
we expect people to be different? We can't make people different, can we? But
No.
yet that separate self thinks that they can or they should be.
Yeah, but it's just
Yeah.
it's an old conditioning of always, trying to. It's how we're grown up, raised. I think everybody's raised pretty much
Yeah.
that way.
That we can affect that outside world by maneuvering, by managing it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just all spontaneously
yeah.
happening.
It's just really trusting yourself again on a
It's
very deep
always that. Yeah.
level.
And
Yeah.
Byron Katie points to it's not your business how anybody else is behaving. It's only ever your business. And what she means by that is how you're responding, feeling is your
Hmm.
business, not
Hmm.
it's not,
Yeah.
our business is not how they're responding and behaving. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean we put up with things that are harmful or, abusive. But if we first turn towards what we are, that's the main thing. How,
Hmm.
because that's where the suffering is. That's where we tend to be out of alignment with the truth of our being, where we're resonating in fear and intelligence, and I've got to, we're attacking them, we're applying all our lenses of beliefs, all our lenses of perceiving, because we don't
Hmm.
actually know what they're thinking,
Yeah.
but we think we do.
Yeah.
So we think we know what somebody's saying, why they're being slightly rude to you is
Yeah.
because X, Y, Z. Well, we don't know. They might just be stressed.
Yeah.
They might just be annoyed at something that their car journey they've just been on. And when they
Hmm.
come through the door and they're a bit sharp, we put it down to they don't approve of me,
Yeah.
they don't like me, they're rude to me, they don't
Yeah.
respect me. That we color it with a lens of all our beliefs and conditioning, and don't
Yeah.
actually see what's actually happening. They're just in a mood.
Yeah.
We make
True.
it all about ourselves.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that tends to drop away because I mean, obviously, it still presents until it doesn't. And I think, again, that's just life. There's only ever one fundamental source, one origin, one, it's a one player game here, appearing as many. So I do feel whatever is appearing is for us to see what's still being believed. That's why we're saying it.
Yeah.
And that, again, I'm not condoning how you should put up with what everybody's doing to be able to see the truth of your being. No, but there is value in what we're maybe potentially open to, what we may be projecting onto them.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's because I was there too. I thought I shouldn't have an ego. I should accept everything, and so you do become a pushover, accepting
Yeah.
all this work because yeah, I shouldn't have an ego. So you sort of had to put it in to say no, protect your boundaries.
Mm.
But it's still okay to say no to somebody. You don't have to
Oh,
be
yeah.
egoless and have
Mm.
everything wash over you.
No,
You can still
no.
say
Well, you find
no.
that it'll be spontaneous. For myself, I've found there's spontaneous assertiveness that's
Yeah,
listened to.
Yeah.
because it's not coming from fear, attack,
Yeah.
blame. It comes from that's not okay.
Yeah.
And then it's usually just dropped.
Yeah.
They'll be just, you, no, that's not okay.
Hmm.
Or that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And it's just done in quite a neutral way, but everybody listens.
Yeah. It's different.
Yeah, because you're not attacking them. So
Yeah.
it's sort of heard on a different level.
Yeah.
And it's not because it's not, I need you to be different. No, it's just this isn't working for me.
Hmm.
It is interesting. I think the
It
whole
is it.
relationship thing is an interesting after self-realization. I think
It
that's
is.
one of the
I,
last ones to be able to navigate and negotiate
hmm.
and see how, okay, so that's the separate self reacting. How is it from wisdom and love? How are they me when you've been
Yeah.
operating as they're your, husband or partner or whatever it is, or child, or how are they me? Where am
Yeah.
I not them? It's just one of the last things I feel to navigate.
It's interesting, and I think there's not many people who talk about this
Mm,
afterwards. It's just like
yeah,
we're all seeking, and then we're realized. But
yeah,
after the realization, it's just like getting married. It's not a Disney. Once you get married, you live happily ever after. It's
yeah.
not.
Your life doesn't. I had this idea that your life all gets fantastic after you've
Yeah, that's what I
married.
thought
No,
too. Yeah,
no.
no, I thought I was going to wake up and everything was going to be perfect and clean.
The house is done.
The house is done. The groceries are done. I'm going to have fabulous dinner every day.
Although you did tell me about cooking. Did you tell me about cooking? That
I
you cooked
did.
something?
I
Yeah, you
mean,
tell me
yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
I've got this thing
So
is
it
when I
does
do a
sort of
yoga.
happen like that, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. No, I've got this fabulous cooking thing going on that I cook. I don't know what I'm doing, and it turns out amazing.
Yeah. So it does sort of do
It
it, but
does,
not in
but
the way we imagined it. We imagined we open the fridge and it's ready to
yeah,
go in the oven.
yeah,
So
yeah. So I
things
think it's
do
really
shape out
interesting.
differently. Sorry, you go.
No, I think it's really interesting to talk about this, what happens afterwards, and I think that
Yeah.
it's nice to have a platform
Yeah.
to have
I
these
felt
talks.
like, yeah, I felt like I might do more of this because I don't really want to be teaching because there's nothing to teach people really.
No,
There is only to be in it, be it.
yeah. And maybe people can feel their spark from listening to this, and they're like, oh, for
Many
them,
people
their
will.
own spark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because as you're picking up an agenda of a teacher who feels like they need to help everybody. I've got to, whereas fundamentally everybody is it, but yes, life is journeying uniquely, finding its remembering its truth.
Hmm.
So if we
Yeah.
talk about our truth, it helps other people to remember theirs. Whereas
Yeah.
you're teaching, they still feel like they've got to get something, but
Yeah.
they're not there yet. And that
Yeah.
you can give them something. And I think that's the wrong way. I know I'm not waking people up, although people have realizations on calls. Many people have recognized the truth, but it's not me waking them up. They're seeing it themselves. I can't
Exactly.
make people wake up. I can
Yeah.
only point and I can only talk about. Um, so I'm just feeling for the right words. I can only express how it is here for them to see it themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, there are certain things that I know do work. And also when I'm on a call with somebody, because people just call me because they want to just chat or they're looking for the truth and they know they're close. And sometimes I get the right word and I know it's the right word. And sometimes I repeat it 3 times and I know it's the thing for them. And they're just like stunned waiting. So there is that. There is something in the transmission, in the resonance, in the
Totally.
of somebody who has recognized the truth. But it can, but okay, so that's what I'm getting. It's never a set way. It's never, so
No.
if you try and do a formula, it's going to be hit and miss anyway. It's never
Yeah.
a set way
Yeah.
because everybody's waking up uniquely and it's
Yeah.
their journey and it's their time and it's when they're going to wake up, they're going to wake up because that's how life wants it like that. It
Yeah.
wants to play hide and seek with itself.
Yeah.
Some people like you did that slow burn, you know, and then that lovely heart awakening and you share that and then that could reassure others and I remember having a heart awakening when I first saw Muji many years ago. I didn't know what it was. I just dropped down into my heart and it went and I put it as I fell in love with him, But I knew it was a different sort of love. I didn't want to rush to, he wasn't in Portugal then. I didn't want to go and be with him. I didn't want to, it,
Yeah.
that type of love. It wasn't romantic love. It was just that universal love. It just
Yeah, it's beautiful
showing me
love.
what I was, but I wasn't able to, I didn't have the maturity at that point. But that's the beauty of it. I mean, if you look back on your whole journey, all that seeking, all that suffering, all that, you know, it's it all just feels perfect now, doesn't
It
it?
does. Yeah.
And I
And
know that
yeah.
might be a bit hard for somebody who's quite frustrated.
Yeah. It does. It's all been useful. It's all been okay. Afterwards. You can say that
Yeah,
afterwards.
afterwards, yeah, 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 not when you're in the journey. I remember David saying to me, "Oh, David Bingham, I'm talking about if people don't realize." So I went to him for my final recognition, and he just pointed me to something, and it's always worth sh pointing other people to this. There's something he said to me that's always been there throughout your life, and when you were 5, 10, 15, that's never changed. And I was like, "Well, yeah, I've always known that." And he said, "Well, that's your true nature." I couldn't believe it was that easy. I was like, what this? That I am. That I felt was Colette is my true nature. So all it is this that I am, that's always here, that everybody that's watching this already is, gets misidentified as the thoughts in their head of a separate self me.
Yeah.
So they're already it. And then the voice, or there'll be a thought, but I'm not there yet. I'm not experiencing bliss. That's just the thought arising in the truth that you already are.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was at the beginning of this thing, but
I'm totally feeling it.
it just felt like it needed to be shared.
Yeah. Yeah, and all this is just an appearance in it.
Yes. And we are this
Yeah.
and this. We're all
Yeah.
of it, the wave and the ocean,
Yeah.
all of the waves
All of it.
and the entire ocean.
Yeah.
Of it. There's no separation. Like if, like I pointed to earlier, we are the moment,
Yeah.
not as separate selves, just the moment without any division, any hard lines, it's only how we can divide this up and then experience it as duality,
Yeah.
as many. There's nothing wrong with that, but there is some absolute joy in recognizing the unified, the unity that's that is creating it all.
Hmm.
That's where the peace is, isn't it?
Totally. Yeah.
The joy of being. That
Yeah.
just be, when somebody says to me, "I'm sorry, I'm just going to keep you waiting a few minutes." I'm just like, yes, please. Because you can just, the joy of being.
Yeah.
Like, I just did a 4-hour car journey because I went to see my dad in hospital. And it was like effortless. I came home and I was like, did I actually, we're looping back around to you talking about the cooking and how life can be different. So it is different because you can do a 4-hour car journey effortlessly.
Yeah.
And what I feel why it is different is because there's no mental activity of a separate self me going, oh my God, this traffic, it's so long, I don't like this. How many more miles? But you're
Yeah.
just being the entire
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
And then you're getting low on the fuel, so you pull over at the nearest fuel place. And then I realized, oh, this is actually taking me off the motorway. And then there's like, well, there's the option to get back on the motorway, or I'll just do this different journey. So I just did this different journey. Was it perfect that it took me off the motorway? I don't know. I didn't second guess it, but I just did a different journey home because
Yeah.
whereas I could have said, oh my God, it's actually taking me off the motorway. Oh my, I'm going to have to, oh no, how do I get back on? I don't know, none of that occurs.
Yeah.
There's a potential to just go a different way home. And I could see I could loop back round, go over a bridge, drop back down, get onto a motorway. But actually, this is equally a route home. I'll just do this. So
Yeah.
it's more of a flow, and there's nobody commenting on what's good and bad and what's right and wrong and how it should and shouldn't be. So it's just flow and ease.
Yeah.
So then I just came back and I was like, and then I cleaned the kitchen again. with nobody saying, why haven't they cleaned the kitchen? Why didn't they do the pots while I wasn't here? Why have there nobody emptied the dishwasher? Da, da, da. I
Yeah.
didn't do any of that. I just cleaned the kitchen. I was quite
Yeah.
happy cleaning the kitchen after a 4-hour car drive.
And I find that
Not like,
so interesting.
yeah, it
It's
is,
just
isn't
so
it?
interesting that you're doing all of this from a different place. And
So
that's
it's
for
the same place, but
everybody.
without the thing. But yes,
Yeah,
that's how
just
it
because
feels. Yeah.
you could just know you could live in a mansion in a cave in the Himalayas in a flat somewhere. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
it's just so
Yes.
nice
It's the thoughts
because
about it
we
that,
all share
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody is already in their own little kingdom, you know.
Yeah, because like when you're on the road and you're seeing the road, it's just all appearing in a way. You're like, oh, nice. And it's sort of all appearing. It's just so interesting because life is so intelligent.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
could
Well, it
also be
is
doing your
intelligence, isn't
shoppings,
it?
or you could just, I don't know, shoveling in the garden, whatever. It's just all the same.
Yeah.
And
It's the
it's
same
just,
appearing differently, isn't it?
yeah, it's just interesting. It's just
It
such
is.
an intelligence behind everything.
And it's so interested in itself.
Yeah,
It's an egoic way. It's just learning about itself. It's just
yeah.
engaging with itself, learning about itself, because you could say the absolute is attributeless. So let's just point to the absolute because it can be a bit confusing. So the absolute is our fundamental self that isn't actually in the world of duality, is at its core, it's it just is. And that's what people often say can't be spoken about because it's what we all are. But if my attention sinks back to the absolute truth of my being, I can't speak because it's so unmanifested in
Yeah.
its at rest, it's unmanifested. So that so what we fundamentally are can't be spoken about because it's not doesn't have an opposite to be able to say, here it is, look at it, I can compare it and I can talk about it. It doesn't, it just is. It's just this moment right here without any divisions, without labeling any of its manifestations. It just is. It's the foundation, the root of everything, the source of everything. What in the manifested world life is consciousness moving, is creating this experience for itself. That's where we were. We were talking about how life can experience itself. And then I was going to talk about in contrast, it learns about itself. So when it sees resistance or contraction, what we can actually see from that is that we are total freedom. By experiencing contraction, life gets to experience itself as total freedom. Because what's in the absolute, it's got no opposites. It's got nothing to rub against. So it's almost like it manifests this world to experience itself.
Mhm. And that's why every emotion is okay because you get to experience it in an emotion.
Mm.
So it's not about the emotion. It's all because it's all coming from this open, boundless space. And then, well, life comes out, and so you experience life. Well, it experiences life, and it doesn't matter, what happens here, but it experiences itself through expressing
Whatever's appearing, whatever
whatever is expressing.
it's yeah,
Yeah.
experiencing. So it's a
So,
field of experience.
even the pain and the joy, all of it, it's all feeling that you're alive.
So would you say it's the resisting the pain that causes it to be a lot more intense and a lot more what we could label a negative experience? Whereas for me, if I've recognized pain and then recognized I am the pain, there's no separation. It's
Hmm.
just a very deep and rich experience rather than what we could label negative.
Yeah. It's the mind that is like, oh, I don't want to feel the pain. It should be different. That's
Yeah,
that's when you sort of get lost in the story.
yeah.
But without getting lost in the story, you can experience the pain until it's gone. Something else is
We just
experienced.
tend to just drop because we're not sort of holding it there in place. That seems to be the experience, that it's just
Yeah.
gone immediately. And the same with emotions, that they just fly through, a bit like
Mm.
children experience them. You don't hold on to them.
Yeah, you don't hold on to them, but you don't push them away either. It's not like, oh, I don't want them, you know.
No, no, it flows through like a firework sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just a brief experience of a flash of something.
Yeah, but the difference is just allowing it to happen or grasping it.
Mhm.
And that's when it gets sticky.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a different experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I think all of that is valid. This sort of allowing, and obviously somebody who's in the real non-dual thing will say, well, who's allowing? There's nobody here, and you can do all of that. That is fundamentally true, but there is this human experience. And especially for somebody who's still journeying, who hasn't recognized, this sense of, oh, so I can just relax. There's this movement of opening up and relaxing until you realize you are the space in which everything appears. I think I remember getting to that point where I was, okay, so there's fear arising. I'm just going to allow it to be there. And I think the difference is we start to recognize it's not our fear, it's just fear. And it's
Yeah.
not appearing in us, it's appearing in the space that we are.
Yeah.
That's where it's sort of got more, there's more clarity of what's actually happening. Like you said, the mechanics, if it's our fear, then we've got an opinion on it, and it's here and we're directly experiencing, and it's not,
Mm.
"Oh, I don't like it, I don't want it. Why is this here? I thought I'd self-realized." But when you say, okay, let's just allow the fear to be there, they're in that open space, you reckon, oh, hang on a minute, it's not my fear, it's just fear arising, and
Yeah.
I'm not this separate self, I'm the space in which it appears. So that's how it all just loosens up. And that's how you can then start to see you are the moment, and
Yeah.
whatever's appearing, thoughts, emotions, craziness, you know,
Yeah.
however the day is unfolding,
Yeah. But
it's what's appearing in the space that you are.
yeah, I mean, the body does need to relax. That's why I do like doing yoga, because it relaxes the body enough so that I'm not all worked up in the mind. It just, so I have the open space.
Yeah,
And, it could be a walk, it could be anything really, but just to relax enough so that you can start opening and seeing what's here.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I
You
like.
don't get all bound, and then the
Yeah.
breath is rigid and we're
Yeah.
contracted. It's very hard to see that you're the space when you feel when you're experiencing, because it's still the space experiencing itself as density. So in
Yeah.
order for the space to experience itself in its formless nature, we've got to see beyond that. Whatever, and again, it's your journey, whatever gets you to that, whether it's yoga, whether it's running, whether it's,
Hmm.
you know,
Whatever. Yeah.
whatever it is that helps you. And I still love, oh, well, I love doing yoga because it's so different. There's no me doing yoga.
Hmm.
There is just yoga, really.
Yeah.
Just life yogaing,
Yeah. And
or
I
just a
try to,
space moving, or, it's
yeah.
delicious. You
That's what
just
I try
play
to
with it.
teach. Well, sort of, I don't teach, and that's what well, that's one thing I sort of hope to to bring across, that you do what suits you. So
Oh,
really start feeling your own body, feeling your own
brilliant.
movements, and following those rather than, okay, now you have to do this, you have to do it perfect, you have to breathe then and then, but just really allowing people to have their own unfoldings in a movement. And that's
Beautiful.
what I sort of try to
I think you'll be waking
encourage
everybody up
people.
in your yoga classes. Because even just when you were saying that, I was like, oh, delicious. Because it's all actually pointing towards our fundamental nature.
Yeah.
You're doing
Oh,
it through yoga,
mhm.
aren't you? You're just empowering them to find
Yeah.
themselves in yoga,
Yeah.
their fundamental selves in yoga. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
it's so wonderful because I live this in a little village in Holland, and I've got all these old people, but I mean, this group is growing and they're loving it, and they're sort of
Bet
really
they are.
getting to understand, like, oh, okay, I react like this, I react like that, and I don't
Mm.
teach, I don't say, I just encourage for their own unfolding. So it's just really nice how, yeah, when all this happens. Yeah, I love it.
Lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you get the joy as well, don't you, of them
Mm.
discovering themselves. It's because we're not actually separate. When somebody recognizes their true nature or has a breakthrough, or I say a word and I see them just light up, I get to experience it as well. And I'm saying
Yeah.
I because it's a universal I. So The
Yeah,
joy is experienced again. It's
it
like
is.
when you were talking about the yoga. It's like life is experiencing twofold because you're talking about it and now you can tell that you love what you do, and then I'm experiencing
Yeah,
all of that. So that's how
yeah,
I guess in appearing as many it can, and it's life just seeing itself in all of its shapes.
it's great.
This isn't it?
It is.
Is, and we constantly just say it's so interesting because life is interested in itself.
It
That's
is.
what's here to experience itself.
Yeah, there's so many facets to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you probably make a very good spiritual teacher if you wanted to. I mean, again, that's not really the right label. I've got to put a label on it. I'm not a spiritual teacher. Sharer of this, I don't know, what you call what.
yeah, because I don't like if you label it. Of course, you have
Yeah,
to label it for people to sort of find you.
yeah,
But
yeah. It's a
I
tricky
just
one,
don't, I
isn't it?
don't like labels because I really
Yeah,
want people to, yeah, discover themselves. So who am I to teach you?
yeah.
I'm
Discover
just here.
yourself. That could be your brand. Discover yourself.
Yeah, I just hope to give you the space to feel
The
safe
space
enough.
and the resonance. Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah. That really
resonance.
does seem to be your
Yeah,
thing. You're giving somebody a safe space to
yeah, yeah.
wake up to themselves, to discover and explore themselves.
They are because that's so much more interesting
Then you could
than
tell them
I.
what they need to be doing. There's nothing in that, is there?
No, there's not. It's just not
Empty.
interesting at all.
Seems very empty. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. That's really
Yeah.
nicely said. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right. I suppose we ought to end we've done an hour and a half nearly. We're gonna have to cut it down, which is a shame. But maybe not. Maybe not. Right. I'll switch off the recording.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I suppose I would say thank you for joining me before I cut us off. We're going to do all that afterwards, but thank you
Yeah,
for
definitely.
agreeing to do this, to share your journey with everybody.